Howdy, friends, and welcome to Repertoire. This is a show about the ideas, experiences, philosophies, and rituals that shape who we are as cooks and chefs. I'm Sammy Mansour, Michelin award winning chef, cookbook author, and food activist. My life revolves around food and cooking, and I love geeking out about the craft and the culture. In each episode, I travel somewhere new to sit down with chefs and food personalities on their turf for honest, unfiltered conversations. We talk shop, we go deep, we cook. Today, I'm in the Back Bay of Boston proper, a neighborhood known for its brownstone-lined streets, historic charm, and a dining scene that blends timeless elegance with bold creativity. Some of my favorite bites in this part of town include pretty much everything on the menu at Deuxave, especially the decadent duck preparations, be it the duck confit, liver pate, seared foie gras, or the extraordinary duck breast entree. Which brings me to my guest today, Chef Chris Coombs, the culinary force behind Deuxave and the award-winning Boston Urban Hospitality Group. Known for his refined technique, relentless drive, and commitment to seasonal New England ingredients, Chris has been instrumental in shaping Boston's modern fine dining landscape. He brings intensity, integrity, and a deep respect for the craft to everything he does, from fine dining to neighborhood bars, top-tier steakhouses, and most recently, a primo pickleball palace like nothing you've ever seen. He's also one of my oldest, dearest friends, and someone I absolutely love talking to about life, the industry, and hip-hop music. Homie, thank you so much for having me in your home today.
Wow, thank you so much for having me. I don't know if I deserved that intro, but beautifully, beautifully written, my friend.
It was 3 sentences that summed up the last 20 years of your life. I could have probably wrote a novel.
Well, I don't know about a novel, but like I said, I appreciate your kindness, and it's hard to imagine that we've now known each other for 23 years.
Over half our lives.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I love it. And I want to jump right into this on some of the flavors. I went to Deuxave the other night and I ordered all of the duck. And I just found out that like duck is your thing. It is your specialty. And you even told me the other day that like you built your career off duck.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it was intentional, but the duck's a very special animal to me, right? And my theory with cooking in general, right, starts with like respect for our craft, respect for our ingredients, where they come from, right? And when you're talking about like a living, breathing, beautiful animal, um, we have an extra responsibility as chefs to make sure that we magnify that beauty in its death, right? And I mean that wholeheartedly. Like early on in my career, when cooks would make mistakes with animals that were formerly living, it would really upset me. I remember early on in dbar, I had a cook who burnt a tray of bacon, and I made that cook write a handwritten letter to the farmer who raised that pig because I felt like we didn't respect that pig, and it was an apology letter. And
Hmm.
and but I feel so deeply and strongly about this. So when I talk about the ducks, like first off, it's like understanding the farm, Crescent Farms, right? Long Island, New York. They've got 136 acres in Long Island, which is kind of crazy when you think about the size and scale of the farm, but the consistency of those ducks, the unctuousness of the fat, the consistency in the flavor, right? And when I talk about those ducks, I have such a relationship with that duck. I know the difference between like the duck from like May and the duck from November, and just the difference in that duck's life and what the weather was, right? Like whether it was hot, whether it was cold, how much rain it had. Like I'm telling you, like I have personally butchered um probably somewhere in the range of like 60 to 70,000 ducks. And that's over, the course of, nearly 15 years of the restaurant. But
Yeah.
um
Just for the record, I think I've personally butchered about 160 to 170,000 ducks. Carry on.
of course you have. But how fast can you do them? We should
Um,
race ducks. You want to race ducks?
I'll cut my thumb off.
You would.
I might have butchered 12 ducks in my whole life.
Yeah. I look, I it- it's
Chickens, maybe a couple hundred.
Chickens are good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could do a case of chickens into 8 pieces, 10 chickens in 11 minutes. But we went to school with a chef that could take a live chicken and do 8 pieces in what was it like 30 or 40 seconds from
Chef
live.
Chang?
Yeah, Chef
Yeah,
Chang.
yeah, she was a beast.
Um,
Yeah, I used to race on stuff like that in
yeah,
school too,
yeah.
and I just in general, when it comes to movement in the kitchen, um, and I know that you're not talking about moving rapidly, because that's when you make mistakes, but one of the things I really like to teach my younger cooks and chefs is that you don't get faster in the kitchen by moving faster. You do it by moving with intention, right?
Mhm.
Speed is about efficiency.
No wasted movements.
No wasted
Yeah,
movements. Do
yeah,
I
yeah.
need to turn? Should I move this so that I don't have to reach there? And so when you know the seams of that duck, it's not even that you're moving quickly.
Yeah.
You're not racing. You're just
No.
so fucking good at it
Yeah.
that you're fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting too because there's like this traditional kitchen wisdom that like might not necessarily be true. Like for example, if I'm butchering ducks, which I've spent a lot of my adult life doing, sometimes 2.5 hours a day, every day, 6 days a week for like a decade, for example.
Yeah.
Um, I can tell you for a fact that having the sharpest knife possible is not a good idea. And traditional kitchen wisdom is like, hey, all your knives should be as sharp as possible. But I can tell you that butchering ducks, you're going to find those seams a lot easier with a knife that's a little less sharp because it's not just going to make its own path and it's going to follow the seams.
Wow. That's when your knife becomes an extension of your hand and
Yeah.
your brain
Yeah.
when you know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of knife do you like? Are you going with a hard butcher knife?
Yeah, so I
A boning
actually
knife?
yeah, so my favorite so this is actually kinda weird. So I've had 3 major knives that I've butchered with, and I think the last one was like okay, so the knife I use to butcher now, it's actually a fish knife, from Made In. It's from the Tom Colicchio collection.
Nice rubber handle.
Yeah, so it's got this blue handle, and the blade is actually much longer than a traditional butcher's knife.
Yeah.
And I feel like
7-inch blade, right?
oh, it's yeah, it's a long blade
Maybe
because it's
9.
designed yeah,
And
it's
it's firm, but it has a little bit of a
yeah,
flex,
it's
right?
got some flex, but I think what's interesting is had I used that knife earlier in my career, I would have massacred my off blade hand. And I just feel like it
What do
the
you
f
mean by that?
I would have cut myself a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is like not a like I would never hand that knife to a young cook and be like, "Hey, start butchering with this knife." In a million years because I feel like I have my movements in butchering down to like a science that unless there's some sort of like gross inaccuracy in the protein itself, meaning like every like 1 in 1,000 ducks, there'll be like a cyst on like the
Right.
tenderloin next to the breast, and like that's not usually there. So like unless you have something strange happen like that, I can do this butchering blindfold, but that knife is like
Right.
the best for every component of ducks, whether it's like scoring breast, extracting meat. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's a great knife.
Damn.
So shout out Made In, shout out Chip Malt.
Yeah. Yo, shout outs to Made In. I just got their Wrangler collab denim chef coat.
Dude, these
And
guys
it
are
is fucking beautiful.
yeah, yeah,
I don't need a chef coat,
yeah,
but I said to my wife, Cass, I said, yo, I had to get this. They did a collabo with Wrangler.
yeah,
You know I like my denim.
yeah. No, these guys are look, I think Made In is like obviously, I mean, they've got the big dogs on there,
Yeah.
endorses. I mean, they've got, Grant, they've got all these really talented chefs, but like just from my chair, like Made In was like that company that like had to come along. Like their saute pans are awesome. Their knives are awesome. Like everything they do,
Top tier.
yeah, is so well researched. Love the company.
Yeah, they are really great people. So, man, I mean, fine dining, like we could go on and on and on and on and on about this. And it's such a big part of your career. But I also feel like it's what you're most known for. And there's so much out there about it that I kind of want to steer into like, what you're doing now because like You opened a spot called Bossy.
Yeah.
That's how many square feet?
100,000.
100,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's big.
That's almost as big as my house. Um, and it's a pickledom.
Yeah, so, I had a fairly, good run at fine dining, and, Deuxave was my dream restaurant since I was, 15 or 16 years old. I felt like that was what I was put on this planet to do, right? And when you speak to chefs, right, I feel like we always have this connection, right? And Deuxave for me became like an identity. It's like a place and a cuisine that I feel in my heart and my soul and in my life, right? And I think it's a good thing, but it's also a really dangerous thing, right? Because it's really hard to define yourself as a person by a place, by a restaurant, right? And as much praise that's come about, oh, this is a very good restaurant and 4 stars and the best duck anyone's ever had anywhere in the world, which is, exceptionally high praise. Restaurants exist for like a finite amount of time. Very few
Yes.
restaurants last forever, and I plan on living for a long time. And, I have, mentors like, Patrick O'Connell with the Inn at Little Washington. He's had the Inn at Little Washington since 1978. But that's an anomaly, man.
Yeah, that's a hard standard to follow.
Right. So, just kind of thinking about what I wanted my life to be going forward. I recently just turned 41 years old, but right around 39 years old, I've always had a passion for health and fitness. And, I try to put together business
Yeah,
plans.
and for y'all out there tuning in, I mean, Chris and I go back because of our love for weightlifting. We
Yeah,
used
we
to
met in the gym.
love
Yeah.
pumping iron at the
Yeah.
CIA.
Yeah.
And I was big and he was kind of a pipsqueak, and now it's the other way around,
Nah, I don't know.
which I
You're still
love.
pretty big.
This dude is bossy.
Yeah. So Bossy basically, is really interesting. I always wanted to own like a gym and, do meal prep and juices but the business plans are like horrific. Even if you sit in the basement yourself, like there's no money to be made, right?
Right.
So, the first time, I have no racket sports experience. So the first time I picked up a pickleball paddle, I looked around and everyone's hanging out, they're boozing, they're eating. And I was like, this works. Like it immediately hit me where I was like, we can refine what this experience is and can be around pickleball. And I started looking all over the country, right? And it was like a very one size fits all experience around pickleball. And I wanted to change that, right? So I partnered up with a former professional tennis player from South Africa who had like 20 years experience operating one of the top sports clubs in the country, like members only, private, super fancy, $50,000 a year in dues, just so we partnered up and we started dreaming about like what this experience of pickledom was going to look like, right?
Mhm.
And like, how do we take the concept of this sport, which is like fun and social,
Mhm.
and turn it into an entertainment experience?
Entertainment. I like that.
And that's how Bossy was born, right? So,
So give me the so you walk in,
yeah.
there's a dope merch counter
Yep.
with like dope merch that you actually want, but also like stuff that you might need, right? Like
Right.
balls, rackets,
Correct.
um uh like exercise gear,
Yeah.
like clothing that's like anti-sweat wicking, breathable, and it's all high quality stuff that you're like not making a ton of money off, but
Right.
it's made in America, right?
It is, yeah. So I mean, we've basically got like an athleisure line, right? And like some of it's designed for court play, some of it's designed for what you'd lounge around in afterward, right? And it was really important that we made all of it here. So we made it all in Los Angeles. With
Dope.
yeah, we made it in LA with this awesome designer, Johnny Targan. And my friend Jess helped out a lot too, just with the design and kind of bringing the vibe of Bossy, or at least the intention of the vibe,
Mm-hmm.
to life in a clothing line, right? So now, I've created this business that's doing multiple things I've never done. I've never had a clothing line. I mean, what are we talking about? So, So that was born.
Yeah, and this is like legit, y'all. Like this isn't like, what I've done in the past where I pick out a great t-shirt from a company that makes a quality tea and I go somewhere, maybe a screen printer that does a great job, and I do some like limited quantity runs and I make a great shirt or a great hat. Like that's like cool, but this is a line.
No, we were like, how are we gonna cut this shirt? Where do we want this shirt to fall? Right? So
Sick.
we were like cutting cloth and test fitting to see how like the clothing would rock on different body types.
Mhm.
So it was, and again, that was a great learning experience. And
One of the things I think is great about where you're at in your career right now is that like if you're gonna do something new, you you're gonna fully wrap your head around it, and then it's not gonna open until you've executed the vision. And so this vision is a very complex vision. There's a lot of moving parts
yeah.
and it's exceptional.
Thank you, Sammy. Yeah. It's basically 11 businesses in one.
It is. And I don't think that we're gonna have time to talk about all of it
No, I'd eat the whole
at
show.
but so let's go through the list.
Yeah.
I'm gonna volley you up. So
Yeah.
you've got the clothing line, then you've got the pickleball courts, which are
Yep.
sick,
Yep.
and there's a lot of them. How many?
21.
21, and there's access for privacy as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. We've
Private
got a couple
bookings.
full private with private lounges attached to it. Yeah.
Close the curtains. You have the fucking Patriots in,
Yeah. Yeah. Patriots come in and play pickleball behind the curtain pretty frequently. Yeah.
right? Dope. You've got a vinoiserie.
Yeah.
Okay, this is one of the things that blows my mind. You have a
Yeah.
fucking vinoiserie, which maybe some of our listeners might not be familiar with that
Yeah.
term. Is it's very niche. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So, I've explored the depths of French cuisine, but the one thing that I've never really been able to express from French cuisine, is what they do for breakfast, right? So we're making laminated doughs, which is, so we've got, croissants and pain au chocolat and Danish and, we do different, monkey bread and we do sticky buns and morning buns and just different varieties of pastry. But we make it with a lot of intention, with a lot of soul, and with a lot of technique. And that's really the big thing. You need a lot of space to do the vinoiserie correctly. You need a Doyon sheeter, you need a Baxter proofer, you need the right butter, which
Yeah, your butter is like gold. What kind?
it's
Tell me about that butter, dude.
yeah,
It's like a
so
sheet that's
yeah,
this
we
big.
buy sheets of Normandy butter, which, I would love to be able to get sheets of European style butter from New England.
Right.
I just haven't found one that functions the way that Normandy butter does.
Right. And I will just say that as somebody who's done some very in-depth carbon footprint analysis on all aspects of a hospitality operation, butter, no matter where it comes from, always comes with a heavy footprint
Mm,
because not about the plane ticket or the boat that it came over on,
yeah.
but the production, the natural resources needed, and the emissions
Mm,
to produce dairy, okay? And
methane
so
gas.
yes, chef. So with that being said, I think you can kinda lighten up on that and say, "Well, yeah, um, it might be a little bit better, but, like, this is the right butter to execute the vision." And that's I think the thing about sustainability is that,
Mm,
like, you can't do it all.
mm.
But if you're actively mindful about it and you make the choices that you can make, you're doing a lot. You're doing if that was how everybody on planet Earth operated, we'd have solved the climate crisis yesterday.
Absolutely. Mindfulness surrounding it. So, so the cafe opens at 6 in the morning. So first off, the club is open, or the facility is open 133 hours a week. So we're open 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. 7 days a week.
Sheesh.
So the cafe does all food and beverage service from 6 a.m. to 11:30. Then at 11:30, our Italian Enoteca opens. Courtside menus begin. We can deliver the cafe to courtside early morning,
So,
but
like, not only are you executing this vinoiserie, which is fucking phenomenal, then you go into house-made pastas
yeah.
and, like killer pizzas. Would you say those are like Roman style pizzas or Neapolitan
You
style
know, it's interesting.
pizzas?
I don't think it's Neapolitan. It's you know, I've been to Naples, and I did the whole I'm gonna eat 10 pizzas in one day. And terroir has so much to do with how that pizza is there. So you know, is there a is you know, for example, like I'm cooking my pizza for 230 seconds, right? So just under 4 minutes. Like
Mhm.
there's not a single place in Naples that's cooking a pizza more than 100 seconds. You know, it's just
Right.
thinner, it's
900
fat.
degrees.
Yeah, it's just
Right.
so again, like I approach it a little differently. You know, we make a biga, and we just constantly feed that dough.
What's a
And
biga?
yeah, so basically, it's you know, it's along the base principle of you know, like the sourdough and having a mother and a starter and then continuing to feed that and then folding that into your daily dough, right? And then the thing is it's something that like you really wouldn't make at home. It's really like a restaurant production technique because you really have to keep it rolling.
Where does
Um
that term come from?
I have no idea.
Biga.
I'd have to Google it. I actually
Okay.
don't know. I
Okay.
really don't.
I've never heard it before.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna say this to y'all because my life revolves around food and cooking. I've never actually been exposed to the term vinoiserie until I went to Bossy. And I'm totally like, listen, I'm an open book about this stuff. You're a lifelong student. You can always learn more.
Yeah.
Ask questions when you don't know something because that's how you will learn.
Yeah.
I would rather ask you and you tell me than Google it, right? So,
Yeah. I mean,
um,
look, food origins are kind of crazy. And if you talk about like Viennoiserie, like the origins are actually not even French, right? Like it comes from Vienna,
okay.
right? So
And so what's important to note is that not just how top tier the programs, the culinary programs are at Bossy, but there's so much care. And you feel that from the staff. I felt that when I toured the kitchen. And I'm blown away. You executed this phenomenal vision. Y'all go to the website, check it out. If you're in the New England tri-state area, I would say it's worth the drive to go out because it's fucking insane.
yeah, bossy.net is the website.
I like
And
that because
because the net on the pickleball
then
court.
on the pickleball court.
Yeah.
And I know we could keep going, but there's just so much more stuff that we want to talk about
Definitely.
right now. And one of them, what's your take on these soft boy cooks, bruh?
Oh, I knew you were gonna drop that on me today. No, so there was a New York Times article that came out here a few weeks ago about soft boy cooks. And I got irritated by this article because it came out while Israel and Iran were bombing the hell out of each other. And it just felt like really tone deaf. And then so I immediately I will tell you, I started reading this article with like the wrong attitude, right? Like I just approached it wrong. Um, and then I just thought it really tied to me about how much our industry has changed, right? And look, change is perpetual in every industry, and we are on the precipice of AI changing everything we know and how we know it and how we cook, and the introduction of robotics into food service, which is going to be a really interesting time. And I'm assuming we're going to get it wrong in the beginning, and then eventually we'll sort it out. But this soft boy cook stuff, I was just like, I don't understand why. Okay, like here's an example. I've never had a New York Times story. I don't know if you've ever had a New York Times story, but
No,
no, right?
I'm not
And
good enough.
well, neither am I. But but to see like this journaling of these cooks that are perhaps a little less experienced in professional kitchens, but really attractive to the TikTok and Instagram eye.
Yeah.
And look, I wasn't born that beautiful where I could just be a soft boy in that way. And I can tell you that if I was born that beautiful, I probably wouldn't. It's probably just not the avenue I'd go. But my real issue is actually what the public refers to as like a food expert these days. That's actually what irritates me about the soft
Yeah,
boy
so
cook
that's
stuff.
what's great is
Yeah.
that like the issue isn't the soft boy cooks because like I saw that article
It
and
didn't bother you as
and
much as it bothered me.
I was like, damn, dude, these boys are fucking these boys are pretty.
Yeah.
These boys are, and they were sexy, and they were putting out sexy little dishes, but it's like, it's about executing a vision, right?
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah,
an
yeah, yeah.
idea. It's a sub pocket of culture that kind of like, it's a cultural phenomenon, right? Like when, without people that don't know each other
Mm.
kind of emerging with something similar
Yeah.
around the same time
Yeah.
based off socioeconomic conditions, as well as globalization and social media, that all of a sudden now there's a label for something that's happening, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, that's been the case as we study human civilization
Right.
for 10,000 years.
Yeah.
But the soft boy cooks themselves, I fuck with. But the point was that it's this tone deaf bullshit coming from New York Times that really stopped. They lowered their standards of integrity when it came to what they would report on with food, right? Is that the
Yeah, I mean,
take?
I mean, also just the gendering of it actually kinda irritated me as well. Um,
In terms of
just like the basis of the article was not about like, "Hey, this person's content's amazing." I actually felt like the whole thing was misappropriated because they weren't like, "Hey, this person's content is amazing. This person's a great cook. Hey, this person, I love to watch them because they're so talented." And it felt like the gendering and like sexualization of boys in that was so
hmm,
it was just really off-putting for me. I was like, "You're not focused on what their talent is. You're saying like, here's how this person looks, and this is what we're associating it with." So for me, it was irritating, and
right.
and that was that. That was that.
Yeah, I
But
understand.
I'm sure I'm sure they're gonna make a ton of money and have millions of followers, and like, good for them. Congrats.
Yeah, we're definitely living in a new time.
You know?
Um,
So,
and when we were coming up, um, you paid your dues.
mm,
You didn't call yourself a chef. I respect that this whole thing is cooks, right? If it was soft boy chefs, I'd be like, why are you a chef? Um, but it was just that I don't think we're holding on to it per se about the negatives of how we came up and all the chefs alongside us and before us, but that there was a system and you earned your stripes.
mm,
And if you were lucky to become a public figure or to get an article written about you by the New York Times, it was because you were doing something extraordinary.
mm,
And then to say, hey, I paid my dues and I've been in business doing something extraordinary for 15 years plus, and I've never even had a wink
mm.
from the New York Times food section, and they're pumping out articles constantly, right? It's not all print anymore. It's digital. It does kind of like make you think, are we taking things seriously still in the world of chef driven restaurants? Because the chips are stacked against us. It is so hard to succeed in this industry, to keep your doors open, to keep customers happy with all these online review platforms that any Joe Schmo can drop a bad Yelp review. And you've got, you know, food writers in their early 20s that are getting paid $50 to write an article about you. They don't know what they're writing about. They're not Craig Claiborne,
No.
right?
No, the game changed. And look, I don't know where it's headed, but I know the state of our industry is as follows, right? Labor is very expensive. It's very expensive, and those people still aren't living a good life.
Right.
Okay. Food is very expensive and getting even more expensive, right? There's so many things from early on in my career that I can't even serve anymore because if I put it on a plate as an entree, it'd be $135, right? And then
Like what?
Wild European Turbo.
Okay.
So I remember using Wild European Turbo regularly at Dental Washington, cutting 4-ounce portions, and it was expensive then. Now it's you just completely can't touch it. Completely. I mean, it was, it was in the 30s then, right? You're talking about per pound, whole and the round, right? Now
Right.
you're talking about a fish that like if you can get it, you're probably getting it landed in the 80s, 90s, right?
Yeah.
So
Whole.
whole, right?
Right. So then there's a 60% yield on meat.
Yeah,
You do the math. It
right.
costs you about 130 a pound for the portion without
Easy.
labor.
Yeah, easy.
Right.
Easy. Yeah, it's wild.
And who's
So
going to pay for that?
well, no one, and that's the thing,
Right.
right? So then you've got, like, we'll have, like, farm-raised turbot from, like, Vita La Palma, and that's whatever it is now, 13.99 pound, but there's always these, like, trade down alternatives in food, right? And what I've seen kinda happen in our industry, and this is with the like emergence of like high quality QSR. So when I say high quality QSR, I mean Kava, I mean Sweet Green, right? And I love Sweet Green. I think Sweet Green has an awesome mission to support local farmers, to teach and educate their consumers about where their product comes from,
Hmm.
which is like what we've been about forever, right? But they're doing it at scale and at a reasonable price. But you know,
Yeah. And kava, like as a Lebanese kid, dude,
yeah, how do you
I
feel
love
about it?
kava. I think it
Yes.
slaps, man. It's really good.
Look, man,
And
it's
I could be on a diet and go there, or I could just say, yo, I'm craving this and I can go there.
yeah. Honestly, the thing that I connect with the kavas, the sweet greens, the digs, is they have big flavor, man.
Hmm.
And they're all racing to get food on the plate between 14 and $17, right? Because that's like the hot zone, right? That's like expensive fast casual.
Right. And if it's delicious,
And it's delicious,
people
and
will
it's
pay
well
for it.
sourced, and people pay for it, and, Sweetgreen's got that infinite kitchen right now. Have you seen this?
No.
So Infinite Kitchen is so these guys from Boston, from MIT, they had a company called Spice, Spyce, and, they linked up with Danielle Boulud. Spice didn't really work out, but they originally had these, like, robotic tumblers that were cooking, like, grain bowls and stuff. And they partnered up with Sweetgreen, and they built this Infinite Kitchen. So, basically, you load, all the ingredients into hoppers.
Oh, I've heard about
Yeah,
this.
so you order from a screen, and all the ingredients are preloaded, and it basically, the consistency on it is like 99.7%. So it just uses like robotics to build you your bowl. And like when you go to Sweetgreen, it's like, oh, light, medium, or heavy dressing. It's like now you select that, but that's like weighed out down to like the milliliter. I mean, it's so accurate. And I think we're gonna see a lot more of that in food and beverage as we go along. I think you're gonna see a lot more robotics. I think you're gonna see a lot more, AI, just infusions into our business in various spots.
Yeah. Um, I agree with you. And I do think that that's why we really need to do everything we can to preserve, support, acknowledge, and honor our chef driven independent restaurants because it is going to be it kind of already is on the edge of this that it is going to be an art form, so to speak, an experience that doesn't make sense in society anymore because you can't make the numbers work. And people, for the most part, aren't going to be able to spend that kind of dough for you to be able to make the numbers work. And now, with the explosion of social media, you've got more people that want to go try stuff,
Right.
but they don't really know what they're going to try. So you have pickier eaters because you have your clientele went from four, maybe five key demographics to everybody.
To
And you
everybody.
can't please everybody because it's not for like what the independently owned chef driven restaurant where you're cooking from heart and soul,
Right.
it won't be for everybody because it's a very specific, unique experience. It's like a piece of art on the wall. You fall in love with that piece of art and you want to pay $35,000 for it. I look at it, I don't get it,
Yeah. It's
right?
very subjective. It's very
And I
subjective.
do
So is
think,
food. Art and food are
yeah, delicious is delicious, but if I don't understand the flavor mapping and the building of flavors. And I've never been to a Vietnamese restaurant before, and I go to a high-end tasting experience, and I've never had fish sauce before,
Yeah.
and it just turns me the wrong way. Like, because I didn't know what I was getting into.
Yeah.
This is like a
But
tangible example
yeah,
of what
so
I mean. Like,
and that's all fine until they become like keyboard warriors, you know? And I think people really don't, it might be malicious, but I don't think they understand how impactful these like Google reviews and Yelp reviews are on a business. And by the way, impactful in both directions. Impactful when they're positive, but impactful when they're negative even more so. And some of the things that I detest about these reviews, and I think every site should eliminate this. Like I would love to talk to the CEO of Open Table about this. That line about value, right? They have to eliminate that from reviews because it's psychotic. Because value to me, in my experiences in my life and how I grew up, is not going to be the same as value to you,
it's
right?
so subjective.
It's so all
It
over
is
the
the
map. And
most subjective. Yeah, because I can go get a fried chicken sandwich at fucking Popeyes on
sure,
Tuesdays for
sure,
$4,
right,
but then I just paid 18 for yours.
right.
So the value
But
wasn't there.
what I would say to that and how I would respond to that is, you know, what did it cost to build that Popeyes and when do they build it? How do they fund it? How do they treat their employees, right? And
What kind of chicken are they sourcing,
well, that's a whole
right?
different, that's really where you're an
What's the
expert.
portion size, right? And it's not just gonna be the chicken, it's gonna be the fucking sauce.
Right.
It's gonna be the bun. It's gonna be the oil they put in their fryer.
Sure.
I mean, it's gonna be the fact that they don't actually make it there. It comes in frozen cases, so there's no labor
Right.
involved. Right, everything, right? And
Right.
and and so that's
So
why
but
this
when
concept of value, like, doesn't hold up.
yeah, yeah. But so when you've got, you know, soft boy cook Tom Smith who comes in and has chicken sandwich, and it might not be that person. I'm just using it to loop back around.
Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, sorry, Tom. When they come in and they try and make a comparison of the Popeyes chicken sandwich for $4 that they like to your $18 chicken sandwich, and you get a bad mark on value because they're like, well, a chicken sandwich over here is $4. It's really unfair to the vision of the business. And I think as consumers, we have a choice, right? It's like if you don't want to pay $18 for a chicken sandwich, don't go there. But don't complain about the prices when it's prominently displayed. Make your decision about value before you go to the restaurant. If it's
Yeah,
uncomfortable for you, don't go. Don't go. I'm sorry,
period.
when I didn't have money, I was not going to expensive restaurants because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah, and if you're gonna go out and splurge, the problem with not having the kind of money to go out and treat yourself, like, when it's once a year,
Right.
there's so much riding on that experience that it's
Yeah.
almost gonna be impossible for that guest to leave happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I get it, like, it's their hard-earned money, they set it aside, they saved it up, they're not used to spending $120 a head,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and then the check comes, and it's probably more than they thought because they forgot about tax and drinks
Tip.
before the tip.
Yeah.
They get sticker shocked, and then that's maybe why the server might get a bad tip because then it's like, and then at that point they're upset, and that's when this value thing comes out. And like you said, you knew you, so it's just about like, I mean, it's human nature. And we don't like as business people, it brings us great joy to host people on a special night, a
The whole
celebration.
the whole
It's the best part.
reason I do this, Sammy. The whole reason I've always done this is because I like to make people happy.
Yeah. You and I both, we've got the heart of a caretaker. I always say, like, I could have been a nurse. I like taking care of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I derive joy from creating happiness for others through food experiences. Like that's what makes me tick. And that can be in a variety of settings. That doesn't have to be in a restaurant, you know?
Howdy friends, Chef Sammy Mansour here. You're listening to Repertoire, where we talk food, craft, culture, and doing it with purpose. I want to put y'all onto something I actually use in my restaurants, in my coffee, and yeah, sometimes in a late night cereal sesh. It's called Ghost Town Oats. This is the first oat milk brand that is barista, black, and queer owned. First of its kind. Ghost Town was created by baristas who were sick of working with plant milks that just didn't hold up, typically due to certain kinds of gums or stabilizers being used. I like that they use sunflower lecithin to stabilize their emulsion. It holds up to heat well, has a rich mouthfeel, and it's also an ingredient that I use in my own kitchens when I want to do something like make a vegan mayo. So yeah, pardon my geek out. Ghost Town steams beautifully with a silky foam, and it's bold enough to complement coffee without muting the flavor. So whether you're dialing in an espresso shot or making something smooth over ice, it just slaps. Also, it's non-GMO, gluten-free, nut-free, soy-free, so it checks a lot of boxes for folks with dietary restrictions without compromising taste. Look, I'm a chef who's built my entire career and platform on strict sourcing standards. What does that look like? First, it's gotta be delicious, and it's always a bonus when it has dope branding. Then the ingredients, product, and packaging need to be produced with a commitment toward low impact, responsible practices. And finally, there needs to be a commitment to people. And that's my favorite thing about Ghost Town. Their business ethos embodies representation, access, and building something better in a space that can sometimes feel pretentious. So if you're looking for an oat milk that actually delivers flavor, texture, healthy ingredients, and ethics, head to ghosttown.world and support my friends who are doing it right. You know, you brought up earlier that you worked for Patrick O'Connell
Yeah.
in at Little Washington. This was kind of your formative years.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, I've never asked you this, like, how did that shape who you would eventually become
Yeah.
as a chef?
Yeah. So the Inn of Little Washington for me, I don't think I understood at the time how impactful it would really be, but I went down to Virginia, rural Virginia, Shenandoah Valley, Rappahannock County in 2004. Now, in 2004, there still wasn't any cellular phone service down at Little Washington, like actually zero. It was a 30-minute drive away from Little Washington before you get service. So I went down and fully immersed myself in the restaurant, right? Which is an experience that I recommend all young chefs who are serious about their craft do. I mean, no friends, no social life. I went to work, I did my job, I worked many hours. I came home, I read cookbooks. There's a concept, right? I studied, I practiced techniques at the house. I had a garden in front of the barn that I lived in. And I got my hands in the dirt and I learned how to grow things, right? And I learned how the weather affected my farming, right? I
Did you get
visit
into foraging at this point?
Yeah. So I started foraging in Virginia too. And by the way, I was lucky. So the inn had a lot of foragers that would just show up at the back door. But our best forager is a guy named William Washington. William Washington was bringing in mushrooms from the woods and getting paid cash, okay? And he was really good at it. Now, I lived on a 300-acre ranch. I lived on a 300-acre ranch in Hume, Virginia. I was actually a live-in personal trainer to subsidize my income for a very wealthy family. So I would walk the land and I would pick every mushroom I could find and put them in separate bags, paper bags, and bring them to work with me and ask William Washington to tell me what I had picked. Because I had the Audubon Society book, but there's a difference between reading a book and being able to identify a mushroom that you've never seen before. And I will tell you, in the Shenandoah Valley, there's some wild stuff out there. So I brought in like dozens, if not hundreds, of like poisonous mushrooms to be told that those are all poisonous, right? Uh, until the one day that I brought in a bag of porcini mushrooms, and then I had William Washington's attention, and he was like, "Where did you get these?" And I was like, "Oh, they're on the land at the ranch I live at." And he's like, "Well, we have to go to your ranch. There could be more of these." And I was like, "Oh yeah, there's a lot more of those." And I was like, "I'll bring you to our land if you teach me how to forage." Right? So William Washington took me under his wing, and, there's a lot of really interesting things about mushroom foraging. It's about like tree spacing, the texture of the ground, the mycelium, the amount of sunlight, what types of trees are around, what type of dirt's around, how much rocks there are, how the soil feels under your feet when it's rained. There's a lot that goes into it,
Wow.
but I can read the woods in eastern Massachusetts. I can read it like you would read a map. Okay. So in a good year, I forage still to this day about 1,000 pounds a year of wild mushrooms. I do it in my free time. And I really owe it all to that one person, because when you first start foraging, you step on more mushrooms than you find, because they're hard to find, especially when you're talking about like morels and chanterelles, which there's a lot of in Virginia and a lot less of in Massachusetts. Like, you have to train your eye to see them so you don't step on them. I mean, I was stepping on like milk caps and things like that all the time in the beginning, because you have to train your eyes to see the mushrooms. So that was a great experience. And when I talk about my time at the Inn of Little Washington, it was really immersive because I was just all in on it, right? And we were down there with a group of chefs, cooks that were all like, still to this day, like the most talented chefs that I'd ever seen. And at that time, it was like, you worked at, Little Washington, you worked at the French Laundry, you worked at Charlie Trotter's, or you worked at Danielle. And a lot of those guys kind of moved in a circle, right? So a lot of the cooks that I was cooking with had worked in some of these other kitchens, right? So we'd share food stories. We had a pretty big budget for a staff meal every day, right? So we were exploring different food flavors together. There's this guy, Jimmy from the Bayou, who, that's how I learned, Cajun cuisine. And we talked about gumbo yesterday.
Right.
And being able to work in a place that had people from all over the world, right? Like, there's this guy, Andre, he was from Germany. He was an unbelievable butcher. He actually showed me how to bone out oxtails so that you'd have a flat panel of meat with no holes. Now, I don't know if you ever tried to do this. It is probably still to this day the most difficult butchering technique that I've ever tried and or learned. And I learned it from him, and I learned a tremendous amount about
How long were you there for?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years. And
Which,
Sammy, guess what? When I got there, and this is like a lost art. When you got to the Inn at Little Washington in '04, everyone, even if you were hired in to be executive chef, which I was not, everyone there started by washing dishes. And chef believed that to run a restaurant, you had to respect all the jobs there. So I started washing dishes, washing windows, polishing brass, polishing copper,
how many days a week were you working at that time?
all of them.
7 days a week?
Yeah.
How many hours?
Mm, well, I'd get up. So I usually would wake up between like 5 and 6.
Mhm.
I'd do my gym routine and my personal training. I would get that done, and I would get to the restaurant, except for when I was the breakfast chef, when I had to show up at 5. But I would get there between like 8 and 9. And then depending on day of the week, I would work till sometime between like 10 and midnight.
Okay. So, and I just want to point this out to people because, like, sometimes when people hear that a chef worked somewhere in their formative years for 2 years, like, they might not be able to grasp this and the gravity of it. But for starters, you can go to the CIA like us
Yep.
and you can get a culinary arts degree, and it's a 2-year program. You're gonna be in class 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, weekends off. Every 3 weeks, you have a 4-day week. Okay. And you learn a lot.
Yeah.
It is an excellent education. So when somebody elects to go to a restaurant like this and has the privilege of working there and does it for 2 years, it is like getting a master's degree.
Yeah. It was an important
And you
place.
will only
Yeah.
get out of it what you put into it.
Right.
But you can only survive if you give it everything you have.
Yeah.
If it's not for you, you'll find out within 6 weeks tops and you're out.
Oh, yeah.
It'll break you quick.
Yeah. Actually, I will tell you that Inlet, Washington's the only place I ever worked where I never remember anyone getting fired ever, because we would just break you and you would quit. And it was very
Yeah.
easy to break people. And I mean that. I don't remember a single person ever losing their job, because a lot of people would move from around the world to work there and live in the middle of nowhere.
How do you feel about people that are going to hear that and they're going to be like, maybe they'll be upset about it or say that's wrong, it
Sure.
shouldn't be that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Well,
every chef that I talk to has come up, and myself included, gone through a period where you have to get um, broken and then built back up.
right.
Everybody gets broken.
Right.
It's a matter of, do you get built back up?
Right.
It is like, it is basically like basic training.
Sammy, the world's really different now. And for the people who get upset by the comments that I just made, I will tell them that the world of food was very different 20 years ago in a lot of ways. Like, I've had like physical confrontations with chefs. I actually, this is a good story. So, I before I went to Washington, I worked out on Nantucket, a restaurant called Toppers at the Wawinnet, and there was this Swedish sous chef there who was, I mean, he was a good chef, but he was very angry. And I had a really bad habit when I worked there, which is that I used to always put my side towel down. Now, some chefs, probably myself included, they don't want to see side towels left everywhere, right? So if you're
Correct.
cooking, right, and you go to plate up, you put your side towel under, in between your rib cage and your arm, and that's
Mhm.
where you hold your side towel. But when I was a very young cook, I'd put my side towel down, and that drove Henry crazy. So it started off as Henry, every time I put my side towel down, would throw the thing across the kitchen or underneath the line or some absurd place. And then I'd go to grab my towel and I'd have to search and find it. Well, I've got, 17 things on the grill and 4 saute pans, trying not to burn things because we don't do that. And that's how it started. And once I didn't learn, then it evolved into him heating up his Coon spoon on the flat top, and touching me with it. But it was a very hot kitchen, so you're always sweaty. So when you touch somebody with like the back of the spoon, it makes like a little sizzle, but it doesn't really burn you. It's just like it's surprising, right? So except for the one time where he went to do it and he thought it would be funny to like do it to my neck, and I turned into it and that spoon was ripping and I still have a scar on my neck from it. And like that would be an example of like not a good way to learn. And like it didn't help me to get burnt up on my neck. That was not helpful.
Right.
But it was a
And
different time. And
yeah.
it was in the moment. Like I can reflect on that story now.
And you don't do stuff like that to people,
Of course not. But it's
right?
but
Neither do I.
but during that time, you know what? Even during that time, it still felt wrong,
Yeah, of course.
right?
It's just that you were willing to endure it
Yes.
because of your
Because I was
drive.
putting my side towel down and I knew I shouldn't.
When you know that when you have a bad
You know?
habit, the thing in these kitchens is that when you can acknowledge that it's your fault,
Yeah.
you will accept the consequences.
That's right.
One
Yeah.
time I mouthed off at my chef at the end of the night because I didn't want to clean the inside of my cooler
Yeah.
properly. I didn't take the lid off and pull all of the mise pans out.
Right.
I was just giving it a wipe around, and it
Yeah.
was after a very busy Saturday. And he checked me on it, and I talked back. He pulled the fucking lid off, 4-foot piece of stainless steel, and point blank threw it at my face.
Yeah.
That was my fault.
Yeah.
Now, when I left that kitchen, I vowed I never want to be that way.
Yeah.
So, like, we're telling these stories. We're not advocating for the behavior.
No.
We are the ones that our generation had to endure it, grow through it, and get rid of it.
Yeah.
And deprogram ourselves.
Right.
Which has been a very interesting thing.
It's been an evolution. And honestly, it's been accelerated in recent years. And kitchens are certainly a more functional, better place on the whole right now.
I really loved the Deuxave vibe. For a fine dining restaurant, I walked in the kitchen. Everybody was very hospitable.
Yeah.
They're all good kids. You've got a great mix of males and females in there. I mean, it's almost felt like 50-50. They're very serious about it, but I was there in the thick of a Saturday night service and they were having fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is not how it was. That is the kitchen and the culture that you created.
Yep.
That is not how it was when we came up.
And Deuxave has been like that consistently for 15 years.
Love it.
And I will tell you, it started with having some of the most talented female chefs I've ever seen in my life.
Adrian
Wright, yeah, Steph Bowie, and some of the people who came through that kitchen, were, yeah. I mean, you're talking about multiple cooks who went on Top Chef and did really well, and some of them opened restaurants, some of them are in the private chef world, but people who really made an impact on food, right? And that word impact is so important to me. And when I think about what my mission is as a person, not even as a chef, I want to have a positive impact on people. And I hope that people also want to have a positive impact on me, though it's not always the case.
And I think that's really like how you use food to make the world a better place in your own way, is that you use it as a vehicle to have a positive impact on people, your team,
Right.
your neighborhood, your community, obviously the people that you serve,
Mhm.
but you've put a lot into your staff, especially in the back of the house, the cooks and the sous chefs that have grown up into executive chefs, chef de
Yep.
cuisines, gone on to do their own thing.
Yep.
That is a one-on-one relationship that you give somebody everything that you have in order to help bring them where they can get to a place of self-independence.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. And honestly, I mean, Deuxave has been and continues to be a very competitive kitchen. And I like it that way. There's no participation trophies at Deuxave. You want to be the chef? Be the best cook in the kitchen. You want my job? Come take it.
Heard, chef.
And
I love that too. I love that attitude, because it's like, you know what? And if you don't think you do, stop watching all these cooking competitions on TV, because that's all they're making now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, cooking is a competitive sport. Hospitality is a team sport.
Right.
There's a difference.
Right.
And the restaurant industry is a complex organism.
It is.
Now, I do want to ask you about Patrick O'Connell,
Yeah.
like just kind of what your relationship is like with him. Do you stay in touch?
Yeah, we stay in touch. So
That's cool.
I still call him. He's not much of a texter. So if I need him to text, he usually has his assistant text me back, which is fine. Bonnie's wonderful. Chef and I have stayed really close. I think one of the great honors of my career was when Patrick got the Lifetime Achievement Award from James Beard.
Mm-hmm.
He called me and asked me to accompany him to the Beard Awards. And he said, a lot of really talented chefs have come through the NLO Washington, but you're the one that I'm the most proud of. Would you join me at the James Beard Awards? Now you're talking about
Goosebumps.
Yeah, man, I cried. I didn't even know how to process it, And again, even, for example, Michelin's coming to Boston this fall. And I got a call right away, and he's
From him?
Yeah, from Patrick.
Heard.
And what's interesting is Michelin wasn't in DC or Virginia when I worked there, but Chef always wanted 3 Michelin stars. And by the way, it was definitely a 3 Michelin star restaurant when I was working.
Does he have them now?
He has 3
Yeah,
Michelin
he has
stars.
3.
Yeah. But he
Yeah.
also had to wait 40 years of running that restaurant before he got his Michelin stars. So think about that, right? It's like when I think about the things that have not come in my career,
Mm-hmm.
the best chef that I know waited 35 or 40 years for his Michelin stars. That's pretty crazy.
Right. Well, He did get a lot of love from the James Beard Foundation
My
throughout his
goodness,
career,
yeah,
right?
he's
How
won
many awards?
all of them,
4, 5?
all of them, every single one that there was to win.
So let me ask you
Yeah.
this. How does it feel to have a accoladed chef like Patrick O'Connell call you up, tell you how proud he is of you, and ask you to accompany him to the James Beard Awards in Chicago?
Yeah.
This is what year?
This is a few years ago now. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd have to check.
Maybe around 2019, I think.
Yeah.
And even since then, you've never even been nominated
No.
as like
No.
and for anything, for your wine program, for your hospitality, for outstanding restaurateur. Deuxave's been in business for 17 years. Never been nominated as best chef, Northeast or New England.
Nope.
Even on a long list of 30 other names.
No, we rarely in life, Sammy, do we get what we deserve. And there was only one time where I was like, ooh, they really actually made a mistake. There's only one time. I was 29 years old. I owned 3 restaurants.
dbar, Boston Chops, Deuxave.
Yeah. All of which had earned stars and done well and
Crushing it.
I was fresh off the first ever Forbes under 30 list. And they used to do, well, I think they still do that Rising Star Chef Under 30 award.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I didn't make the long list that year. It's fleeting. It's something that I really wanted for a lot of years.
Yeah, me too.
And now I don't care anymore. And it's sad because my publicist would always give me a hard time that the Beard Awards the nominees would come out in January and that I'd be depressed until March, and not for me, just for the team and for the people who worked so hard in the restaurants.
I mean, it's the whole thing is like, I mean, it is a team victory, but it's also like it feels weird to see a lot of your friends having this reason to go to Chicago every year, and the media is like, this is the biggest deal, and it's like, I've never been. I'm not going to buy a ticket to just go, but it's like it feels like you're like excluded from it in a way that's like, this is not about ego. It's just about like, it's about inclusion. It's about like, I've been contributing to this scene for a really long time. I don't even want the award, but it would be nice to be on a long list somewhere so that I could attend one of these ceremonies and be a part of the celebration of culinary excellence in the United States of America, right? Because when we came up, it was the biggest honor, and you can't shake that.
Well, I can tell you that even going there with Patrick, and we had a great weekend, because anytime that I get with him now that's like gold to me, Sammy. But I can tell you, asked me how I felt, and I felt like an imposter being there, because I was with Patrick at his side, and Danielle Boulud's there, and a lot of really talented chefs. Actually, it was 2019, because that was the year that Tony Messina won Best Chef Northeast.
Hell yeah. What up, Tony?
Tony. So, and you know what? Ken Oranger and I were the 2 Boston guys cheering the loudest from the crowd when Tony won. And I got to give him a hug on his walk up to the stage. But again, it made me feel like an imposter.
Why? Did it feel like all those other people are always there?
No.
Do you just not feel like
Sammy,
you deserve?
No, Sammy, my no matter what I do in my career, I will never feel like I'm good enough.
A lot of people think that the accolades are ego driven, and it's just more about feeling like you're part of the celebration, I think.
For me, it's actually about, I think you know this. So I have some friends, like really close friends, that started some of the like larger tech companies in America. Our age is the age of like, like we're the same age as like Mark Zuckerberg, for example, right? And I think about what I gave my life to. And when I say gave my life, like people don't really understand it, right? They don't understand that like from the jump with Deuxave, like I had a 10-year period, 10 years straight, where I never worked under 85 hours a week. Okay. So my entire 20s were given to building food every day. And I wouldn't have had it any other way. But when I think back now, because I'm in my 40s now, I think that perhaps what set me apart has been my drive and hard work. But I also wonder, had I applied myself to anything else, what would have come of it?
Right. Unfortunately, though, you can't change having a caretaker's heart
Right,
and an insane passion for food and cooking,
right,
right?
right.
But I mean, I feel the same way, you know? So, but I think that you're figuring that out with
Yeah.
Bossy, right? It's a different
Different
beast
interpretation of
and it's smarter. And it's
yeah,
out of those 11 businesses, 3 of them are food and beverage.
yeah, yeah,
So
maybe 4, but
you're
but
venturing out.
yeah, so I think where we evolve as people, right, is knowing that, like, I don't wanna make the mistakes I made in my past, right? Like, I don't wanna, not see my family because I'm always at work. I don't wanna miss, birthdays, and I mean, this business, when you're at the highest levels, it will take everything from you if you let it, right? And you will miss out on many, many things, so you had better be very happy in that kitchen. And we used to say, like, at Deuxave, we used to call it, like, kitchen family, and it's like, it was kitchen family because that was the only thing you really had time for, you know?
Yeah. 100%, dude.
So,
I mean, and it's a beautiful thing when you have that too, but I think that I've grown past the concept that being a chef isn't a career path, it's a lifestyle.
right.
For many years, I subscribed to that stubbornly,
Mhm.
and I think I had to develop the skills and get where I wanted to go and become who I wanted to become. But as I started to like see the importance of other things,
Mhm.
I realized that I couldn't have a more diverse life that brought me joy in other ways
Mhm.
unless I said, no, 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 this is a career.
Yeah,
I have to figure out when it starts and when it stops
that's right.
in my day to day life um, by the hour and be like every other adult,
Right,
every other successful professional.
right, right. Eh,
Develop a schedule that works for your personal life, your hobbies, your joy, your passion, your family, and your work. And
yeah,
it's very hard to do it.
of
It's taken
course.
years to figure out,
Well,
right?
because you have to figure out what you're willing to let go of. And for me, what I was willing to let go of was, like, being in the restaurant after 10 o'clock at night.
Hmm.
Like, I used to stay to 1, 2, whatever, like, however long it took to put out, like, the last tasting menu and then clean and make sure the cleaning was perfect and make sure the order was perfect and make sure the walk-in was perfect. And it took me a really long time to be like, "Hey, the last 3 hours of the night are not as productive as if I get out of here and go to bed and then wake up early tomorrow morning
Yeah.
and put that work on the front side of my day instead of the back side."
Well, that's where it starts, but like then it helps you see other things
Right,
that aren't worth your time. It's like, is the juice worth the squeeze?
right.
And you learn how to not be so psychotic and meticulous about details. And what I mean by that is like you're not flipping the fuck out because there's side towels everywhere in your kitchen anymore.
God, no.
And it might have been that way for the first 10 years. But you realize like, wait, is this going to be was this my programming that's consuming me or is this why this restaurant's great? And when you realize
It's a
that,
combination of the 2, though.
well, it is, but there's an 80/20. It is, but there's an 80/20 rule, right? So
Right,
I like to think like, what is, what are the what's the most important 20% of what I do that
right,
yields 80% of the results,
right,
right?
right.
And so then that other 80% of my efforts, if I can shave that down to 40 and execute my vision on a 90, I'm okay with A minus at this point in my life, dude.
For sure, for sure.
Because I just got 40% of my life back.
Yeah,
And was I ever achieving a 100 when all I did was fucking make myself sick to my stomach about perfection?
mhm,
No, never. Maybe a 95. maybe a 96.
Your food was pretty amazing, though.
And it's still just as good.
Right.
And it's just that it might miss a couple touches or a couple of details or there's just something that will make it special if I'm there with my hands into it with the team, right? That's why you become the leader. And it might be missing that, but it's still awesome. And you're still super proud of the team for doing it, right?
Definitely.
So it's just like letting go, man. Because you could get 3 Michelin stars and keep them forever, but that'll be your identity, right? Until you die of a heart attack on the fucking line.
Yeah, right. And then what's it all worth, you know?
Nothing.
It's worth nothing.
Because it could be taken away by the next Michelin inspector that comes in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's fleeting. It's fleeting.
So, dude, we love fucking hip hop music. We just went and saw Nas perform with the Boston Symphony Pops. Beautiful, grown ass man.
Mature.
Coming out in a tux.
Yeah.
So positive.
It was great.
He was just spreading love.
It was a really special night. It was the best concert of my life. And I didn't expect it to be. I had hoped, I told Sammy, I said, I hope that this is like when Jay-Z did MTV Live with the Roots. And it was that and more. To be there, I mean, we were, what, 20 feet from him?
Yeah, we had great seats, but then 3 songs in, we bumped up, and we got 2 rows. We were like 2 or 3
really
rows.
Close.
Yeah.
We were really close.
Okay, my favorite part was towards the end of the concert when he performed If I Rule the World.
Yeah.
And the entire place was singing the hook.
Yeah.
And then we'll walk right up to the sun.
Hand in hand.
Hand in hand. And everybody was just screaming it without any inhibitions.
Yeah.
But I could hear your voice. And what made it so magical to me is that we were singing it on the top of our lungs together.
Yeah, it was great. It was a beautiful moment.
I almost cried.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really special.
Because that hook is so powerful anyway.
Yeah.
It's so chanting and uplifting and rhythmic and
yeah, it's Lauryn Hill, bro. Which I wish all
walking up to the sun, hand in hand, not landing. It was, I don't know. It was incredible.
Yeah.
But what are you listening to right now when you're cooking? I don't care if it's at home. I don't care if it's in the professional kitchen or if it's at home. What are you vibing on right now?
Yeah, so I'm actually I'm a car music person.
Okay.
So traditionally the Deuxave kitchen has been a hip hop kitchen. Always. From the beginning. Hip hop is what is played. Now, by the way, through the years, there's been versions of hip hop, right? I mean, that have evolved in the kitchen based on the cooks who are there and their taste. But we are absolutely a hip hop kitchen.
What are you fucking bopping with right now?
So the newest album that I've been listening to is actually the new Lloyd Banks album.
What is it called?
Oof. Yeah, I can't remember.
I can't remember either because it's got an AO. It's maybe the 3rd installment of something.
Yeah, it's really a surprisingly good album. I think we both were kind of taken aback by how good the new Lloyd Banks album is.
I've played it cover to cover 15 times.
Yeah, it's really good.
In the last few
It's really good hip hop.
Fuck yeah, Lloyd. And he's our age. I love it.
Yeah, shout out Lloyd Banks.
Yo. Oh, actually, dude, Beanie Siegel has a food truck in Philly now.
Really?
I saw that.
What are they cooking?
I think they're doing burgers and wings and it's him and his sisters.
Do you know when he was eating there or no?
No, I just saw it on YouTube and it's him and his sisters and I honestly I thought you and I would
down in Philly. We'll send them by, see what's up.
Yeah. But I think that it's up our alley to just kind of go there.
Yeah, let's do it.
To see if if we could meet him.
You think he's hanging out on the truck flipping burgers?
I've seen it. Really? I don't know, dude. He's living a different life now.
It's true.
Yo, Capadonna, the officially made the 10th member of the Wu-Tang Clan at some point. Capadonna was driving fucking cabs in like Baltimore or like Virginia within
Gotta
like
look.
the last 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
Like people think that rap stars or people that, you know, that we know are true spitters, it's a tough business, man.
People only think that if they didn't grow up with people aspiring to become rappers. Like, I grew up with a handful of friends that I thought were really talented Massachusetts guys, and they never made it. And it wasn't close.
What do you think about Millie's?
So I don't know him, right? Um, I think that, like, you know, he's obviously got really strong brand presence, and I think right, there's this thing in music, right, where, and maybe it's the same with chefs, I don't know, but you can be really talented, but if you can't figure out your brand, you have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really like where some of these people go through like their evolution. I'm trying to think of it. Oh, who is the?
What do you
Oh
think about
no,
Millie's?
I like him. I like him, but what I was actually going to use a different example, right?
Well, I'm asking you what you think about Millie's.
Yeah, he's good, but what I was going to talk about is Machine Gun Kelly,
Well, I don't want to
another
talk
local
about
guy.
Machine Gun Kelly yet.
What do you think about Millie's then?
Well, he's grown on me over the years
Yeah.
because he's consistent and he's a serious spitter and he's a student of hip hop. I didn't first bop with him when he came out, but I've just continued to see him practice his craft, hone it, go on radio shows and drop freestyles. He still does live performances. I think it's impressive, and I think he's left off the list a lot.
So, freestyle to me is the equivalent of the chef's mystery basket. When I think about hip hop and how it's such a different talent to take a mystery box and be able to make an unbelievable dish out of it randomly off the top of your head, like they do, you know, like on Top Chef and other
Yeah.
various cooking shows. I think it's just a different talent, like, than like having a full menu recipes structure. Like, it's just like a
Right. Well,
different
nobody's going off their
skill.
dome. I mean, you're going into these guys today are they're going into. I think that there's a misunderstanding of the term freestyle. Freestyle isn't always off the top of the head. Most of the time, you don't know the beat. You get surprised by the beat, and you drop a verse that you've worked out that's not recorded. It's not on any songs. You're never going to record it or put it on a song because you dropped it there. So you're like sharing a gem, and it's just about the art of your flow,
That's a
right?
mystery basket to me.
Yeah. But I know, and I'm just saying, like a lot of people think it's like once cats start going off the top of the head, they'll say it.
Yeah.
Hip hop top 5
Albums or songs? Artists?
artists.
Whew.
Not
Yeah.
doesn't have to be top 5 on a list of like these are the best. Your top 5 favorite.
Yeah. So Jay-Z, Dr. Dre, Nas,
Mm-hmm.
Biggie.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, 5. I don't want to waste 5. 5's tough for me, man. See, 5's hard because my gut says I want to say Tupac.
Okay. All right,
but
cool. Well, this is a trick question. I'm taking those and setting them over here.
Okay.
Now give me your top 5.
Oh, behind those guys?
Yeah, because that's
Oh, so
you're just paying
yeah.
your dues by saying that one.
J. Cole,
Okay,
Snoop Dogg, definitely.
cool.
50 Cent for sure. You
Nice.
wrap G Unit into that if you want to. Kendrick Lamar for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would probably go. Final picks are always the hard ones for me. I'll throw in Benny the Butcher.
Ooh,
A little something out of the.
it's the butcher.
It's the Butcher.
Shout out to Griselda. Shout out to Buffalo, New York,
That's right.
home of the chicken wing.
Home of the chicken wing.
All right, I'll give you my top 5. Obvious brush just aside.
Okay.
Top
Yeah.
5,
Yeah.
obvious brush just aside. J. Cole,
Yeah.
Big Crit, Andre 3000, Common,
Oof.
Fuck it, dude. I'm going with Talib Kweli because I was like, should I say
Ooh, that's a good
Talib or
one too.
Common? But I don't think that's fair. Both.
I think what's interesting for me about this is like these lists and names are always changing based on how I feel. Like there's times where
Yeah.
I'd be like Kanye, Eminem, da da da, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But like right now, I can't listen to a lot of that
Yeah.
with how I feel right now.
How do you feel right now?
I feel like I have a hard time getting past and just listening to the music without thinking about who that person is as a person, which is why it's really hard for me to like rock with a Kanye
That's
album.
why I don't listen to Kanye. 100%.
It's just hard. And it's and by the way, like I can tell you there are albums he has and songs that he has that I absolutely love, but I feel like less of a human listening to it. And I will also say it's the same thing for uh every time there's a song where Diddy's talking through it, but I never liked him to begin with.
Yeah. We
I
never
ne- yeah,
fucking
we
bop with
never
Diddy
liked
anyway.
him. Never liked
He's
him.
a clown.
Yeah. Best song he ever wrote was about $100 bills. Come on. It's weak.
Yeah. He's not yet, but I hear you. You know, you want to, especially at this age, you want, if you're going to listen to somebody
Yeah.
in your ear and it's about the lyrics and what they're saying, you want to believe in them as a person. And I think that that's what made the Nas concert so beautiful. And it's why Jay-Z is up there on the list. And,
Yeah.
guys like J. Cole, they feel like beautiful people. Andre 3000.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful mind.
I think that when you really listen to real hip hop and you break down what they're saying and you think about it, I will tell you, I listened to The Life of Pablo for 4 years before I figured out what the hell he was talking about. Like actually the full messaging of the album, which I have now forgotten, but because it's just not important in my brain anymore. But I don't want to listen to anything that comes from the mouth of a crazy person. It's just not for me.
Yeah, that's foolish. As a grown-ass man, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, when you listen to lyrics in your head over and over and over and over again, they will have an impact on you. And it is very important to own your mental space and to be in charge of it and to say like, hey, if I don't want to have anger or anxiety, I can't listen to this, right? Like I love Eminem, but it's so angry. Even his newer stuff. It's fun to listen to, like, for me, like, it would be fun to watch an action movie.
Right.
But I don't watch a fucking action movie over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Right? And
I feel the exact same.
You know what I mean?
I feel the exact same.
Then there's something like beautiful about Illmatic. Even though the content is rugged and raw and he's talking about the struggle of housing projects and pissy elevators and fucking smoking bogeys on a staircase, his homies getting killed, there's still something that's beautiful and peaceful about the delivery that makes it a timeless classic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeesh. Almost like the duck breast entree at Deuxave. So we're going to steer back into some flavor, dude. It is time for our segment, the Flavorful Five.
Flavorful Five.
The Flavorful Five, okay?
Yeah.
This is something that I really love because I want to know your answers, and I stash them down as well. These aren't just cool questions, folks. These are recommendations. These are pro tips. I hope that you're fucking writing these down. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. Best sandwich you ever had?
Sam LaGrassa's, downtown Boston. They do a pastrami there that is amazing.
Sheesh.
Sam
They
LaGrassa's.
make that? That's famous. I've been there.
Yeah.
They make the pastrami in house and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. And it's
like off a little side street in downtown Crossing, right?
It is, yeah.
It's like hidden.
Yeah, it's hidden, but it's been there forever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, dude. I used to go there. I forgot all about
Yeah,
that.
it's heavy, right? Like you know how you're talking about like that song you only listen to once every 3 months? That's Sam LaGrassa's for me.
Yeah.
It's like I wanna eat it every day, but it's like a special treat. I'll go twice a year, but it's amazing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite street food?
Tacos, boring, but, my, amazing wife is Mexican, and, I mean, dude, we could do an entire episode on Mexico City and street food, but
Hmm.
let's just leave it at tacos.
Is there like a particular taco that you?
Yeah, for me, dude, I'm always like, I like that like really unctuous, fatty, like carnitas, but
Mm.
I don't want a bunch of shit on it, right? Like the worst thing that you can do to beautifully cooked meat is muck it up with a bunch of stuff. So it's like I want,
Yeah, too much sauces and stuff.
yeah, it's like, and by the way, it's not like I don't want hot sauce on meat. I do, but that's not really like the soul of Mexican cuisine. It's
Mhm.
like bastardization, right? So like a little cilantro, a little chopped onion, fine. But
Nice.
like beyond that, I like it like pure.
Yeah, maybe a little, maybe like a little bit of lime juice I
Yeah,
like, or
that's
like
great too.
one condiment
Right.
that's made with a flavor profile
Okay,
in
but like
mind.
a lot of the best like street food dudes, like they're gonna put their little hit of lime, or they're gonna like I don't want to add it, right? Like
Okay.
I wanna eat it as it's, like, served to me. I don't wanna doctor up a taco, right? So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's
you know what I'm
bush league
saying?
bullshit.
Yeah, so,
That's
like
gringo.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, exactly. So, it's like, as much as I love hot sauce, I'm like, I love hot sauce. It's like, I want, like, those little I have some in the counter, I'll
Yeah,
show
but I
you.
know what
I
you're
want those
talking
little
about,
pink
man.
chilies in there, just, like, the little round ones. I
Yeah.
don't even know the name of them.
No, but you're right. When it's served right, street style, like for me, it's the al pastor taco,
Yeah,
and it's like
delicious.
the fucking tortilla is packed to the brim with meat, and
Yeah.
then it's already seasoned and it's got what it needs,
Yes.
and then it's got a nice coat of like maybe some small diced raw onions and some
Yes.
cilantro, and it's the perfect bite.
Yeah, but I want that, like honestly, the most satisfying thing is, like, that mouth fat feel, like that coating.
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
Oof, I'm ready to eat a taco now.
hell yeah. Um, what is like the holy grail of spices to you?
The holy grail of spices. So, I've generally been pretty heavy on trying to, like, create my own, like, spice blends through the years, right? So, like, I've always been like, "Well, this is the best spice rub I could put on a duck breast. This is the best one I could put on a leg. This is a lamb spice." But if you're like, "Hey, which spice could you, like, not live without?"
Yeah,
Coriander.
coriander.
Yeah, I really like coriander.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I think it's really versatile, right? So I think coriander is a great bridge across like many different cuisines, right? And I think like you see how it's used in France versus like how it's used in India versus how it's used in Mexico. And
Mhm.
I think it's like a really nice um it's a really nice dynamic spice to add to food. And I also think coriander really knows how to play second fiddle like really well. Like
Mhm.
even thinking about like its versatility, like if you were to do like a black pepper coriander crust on like you could even put it on seafood, you put it on tuna, right?
You're right.
Or but then that same crust is the crust you put on pastrami. So think about
That's what
that.
I was just thinking is that like coriander, mustard, brown sugar, salt, black pepper,
Yeah.
what is pastrami? If
It's
you don't have
pastrami.
coriander, it's not right.
Yep.
But then like Cuban food, like if you take cumin, coriander,
Yeah.
garlic, and orange,
Yes.
it's phenomenal. You pull the coriander out
Yep.
and there's a roundness that's missing.
Yep. Yeah.
Great call, dude. I
Thanks, bro.
love that. What's an ingredient that you overuse with zero fucks to give?
Yeah, it's duck. I mean, I think we've kind of covered the duck thing here, but I just don't. Like there are times at Deuxave that I'd have like 15 dishes on the menu in total, and like 6 of them would be duck based.
I like that.
And I don't care because when you have half the people come and order it anyway, it's like give the people what they want, right? When the birds are hungry, feed them.
um, you can only eat at one restaurant for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I eat chicken, rice, and broccoli
No, no,
pretty
no,
much
that's
every
not the
night,
question.
right?
It's not that you have to eat at this restaurant. It's just that, like, aside from making your own food, if you ever go out to eat again, it's this only spot. So it's
Oh,
really,
so
it could
this
be
is like
once a
a
year.
favorite restaurant question. Like, what's your favorite restaurant?
Yeah,
for
but it's
instance.
also like maybe your favorite restaurant isn't a place that you want to go to 12 times a year.
Yeah. Okay. So from a technical, and I'm going to give you a really complex answer here. From a technical perspective, the best restaurant in Boston is Oh Yeah. And when I tell people that, it makes them crazy. But it makes them crazy because they don't understand it, right? So as chefs, or people with really in tune palates, when you go to Oya and you have 18 courses and they're all perfect, and it's $800 a person for food, which is, we were talking about value earlier. For me, that's on the high side of value once I'm spending $700 or $800 on food, but they don't miss. And they're using flavors and depth of flavors in ways that other chefs in the city of Boston do not attempt and haven't attempted. And by the way, Oh Yeah's also probably been the best restaurant in Boston for 15 years now, and nobody
Yeah,
really wants to talk about it.
I'd say
But
so.
and you know why people don't want to talk about it or acknowledge it as the best restaurant in Boston, even though it is? It's because it's not accessible, because people can't afford to eat there.
Yeah, and I think that that's fair.
I think it's fair too. I think that
Like, I
um,
think it's fair to not be constantly talked about because it is different.
yeah. But when Michelin comes, I can tell you for certain there's only one restaurant in Boston that even has an inkling of a shot at 3 stars, and that's Oh Yeah. And by the way, like, I think they'll get 2 stars, but it's the best restaurant in Boston. And that's not like it's not like, oh, they're my friends or I'm
But
pumping the
but you're not
place.
answering the question here,
Sure.
son. It
Okay.
doesn't matter anywhere in the world. Time doesn't exist. Travel doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But you only get to eat somebody else's food for the
Yeah.
rest of
Oh,
your life.
time and travel doesn't exist. This is way easier then. There's this restaurant in Grand Cayman called Chicken Chicken. Okay. And they make this rotisserie chicken over this oven that you've never, like, I've never seen an oven like they have their rotisserie in any other restaurant anywhere in the world. And they just spin birds there all day. And it's like rice and peas, the most beautiful. Like, I could tell you, I could eat a chicken and a half at lunch there myself. And they do this vinaigrette that comes next to it that you dip the bird in. And like, if you're ever in Grand Cayman and you don't go to Chicken Chicken, it's an enormous mistake. It is hands down the best rotisserie chicken that I've had anywhere in the world. And that's a crazy thing for someone like me to say, because, like, do I
'Cause
think
you
it's like,
fuck with rotisserie chicken.
well, I do, but that's not the point. The point is that, like, I don't know how it's sourced. I mean, they could be taking the
Right.
birds off the road that are running around in Grand Cayman. I don't know, and I'll be honest with you, I don't really care. That chicken slaps, and I can't get enough of it. I could eat last time I was in Grand Cayman, I was eating that chicken twice a day.
With the rice and the peas, you get the rice and the
Dude,
peas too?
yeah, and they
I
have
love
like this
rice and peas.
coleslaw, and they like, look, none of it's fancy, right? Like, I'd go in and like a whole chicken with the sides and stuff. It was probably $17. Throw some inflation on there. We're talking 21 in today's dollars,
Right.
but that's what I would eat.
That's cool. You know what that reminds me of? The best rotisserie chicken that I've ever had, and I think it's like experiential, right?
Yeah.
Was in Nice.
Yeah.
And we were walking by a little rotisserie and we saw the chickens spinning in the window.
Yeah.
And underneath them were these drip pans.
Yeah, man.
Like
They
these
have potatoes in
stainless
there? What'd
steel
they have?
drip pans with
Yeah.
potatoes that were just cooking as the chicken drippings.
Yeah, man.
And fat, the schmaltz and the juice were just basting and cooking the
Oh,
potatoes.
man.
And we got that. We got some potatoes. And then they had a celery root coleslaw.
Yeah, man.
And it was literally like a picnic meal.
Yeah.
And it was 2 blocks from the beach. We got a roast chicken, potatoes, coleslaw, grabbed the bottle of rosé,
Yeah.
walked to the beach, sat down in chairs,
I'm crushed.
and it was the most beautiful. To me, Nice's water is the most beautiful water.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great place. I got engaged there, so.
Wonderful. I'm glad we got engaged in Sitges, another beautiful
Another
place.
beautiful place.
Not too
You
far
were
from
kind enough to
Nice.
bring me there for your wedding as well.
Oh, you were kind enough to come and man, I mean, I think that's just how connected we are as lifelong friends that we've traveled the world together and there's
Yeah.
still so much more to do together.
Hell yeah.
And as somebody who's just always loved you for your heart and your soul, I know that cooking is an extension of that. You really are a caretaker. And my final question to you is like, like what's a dish that you make that satisfies your soul like the act of cooking it,
Yeah.
because the ritual and the joy of cooking that dish brings you back to center.
I find more joy in life in making others happy more so than myself. So for me, I've never really created dishes for restaurants at my house. It's never been part of my process, ever. I create them in commercial kitchens in that environment with those set of circumstances
Right.
because I will tell you that like a core concept in cooking for me has always revolved around time. Like if you're like, "Hey, how long do you braise veal cheeks for?" I'm like, "Sammy, you braise veal cheeks from Cargill for 2 hours and 12 minutes, but if they come from Four Story Hill Farms, Sylvia's veal cheeks take 2 hours and 7 minutes." So I'm a really big fan.
God, you're sick.
Yeah, but I'm a really big fan of applying time to cooking for consistency, and I think time is the most overlooked thing, and it's so interesting because we all have
It's part of
timers.
precision.
Yeah, it's part of precision,
We
and
talked about this the other day. This $1,000 watch
Yep.
is basically a timer for
it's a
me.
timer.
I set 30-second timers, 60-second timers, 90-second timers,
The
12-minute timers constantly when I'm cooking,
The
even at home.
best cooks set timers, and people who think that their brain is a natural timer are not using their tools. We have modern tools to make us better chefs, to make us better cooks, to make us better people. Use your tools. So anyway, the dish we're gonna make today, when I was doing the menu writing for BOSSE, I just happened to make dinner very casually for my wonderful wife Andrea, and I made this red shrimp pasta dish with a broccoli pesto and tomatoes, and it just came out. There's some chilies in there, there's some lemon juice, there's a lot of butter.
I like that.
Yeah, I like butter too, come to find out. And it sounds really simple, but when I made it, she took the first bite and she said, "This is the best thing I've ever had. You have to put this on the BOSSE menu." And now it's Andrea's dish on the BOSSE menu.
love that.
But it's interesting because it's the first time in my career that I had something that I cooked at home make it to the restaurants.
Well, I think that's part of the evolution of being a cook, and that our food gets a little bit more simple
as we get older.
and
Yeah,
rooted in deliciousness
agreed.
and what satisfies your soul,
Agreed.
instead of like when we were youngsters, we had something to prove.
Oh yeah.
And now listen, the food at Deuxave satisfies the soul 100%. So I don't mean it like that, but when you have a new concept and you want to, and you say, "Man, how am I making what to me is basic and it's bringing somebody so much joy?" That's the power of food.
Chef, it's interesting that a lot of these chefs, like as they get older, tend to land in the same place. It's like I was thinking to myself today, is like, does every chef just get to a point in their career where they just want to make pizza? Why is that? Why is that?
You know how
Right?
many pepperoni pizzas I'm going to shout out on season 1 of Repertoire? And I don't fucking care.
I
'cause
know
I
it's
love
mo-
it.
I know it's more than one.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And I think that there's a reason behind that. There's a reason behind it. And it's not because chefs get tired, or we do get tired, but that's not like the reason that people turn to that simplicity. It's, I think that as our palates mature, we find a beauty in it.
Yeah. Well, it's still technically complex to execute what could be the best possible version of a pepperoni pizza. And so
I'm not the guy to ask on that.
it takes a it takes a lifetime for a lot of people
Sure.
to get there. And so when you're like this really great chef
Yep.
that's has a diverse dynamic repertoire, and you can say, "Dude, you know what? I want to do pizza." You could pick it up in
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah.
And then you can put systems in place and you can have your cooks and your chefs execute it with consistency. And look, dude, pizza is nostalgia.
Yeah.
You heard about the worst pizza in the world?
Doesn't exist.
It was all right.
Yeah. It's true.
So, but when you knock it out of
Even
the park,
bad pizza's still pretty damn.
when you knock it out of the park, it's joy.
Agreed.
So
Wholeheartedly agreed.
just like hanging out with you has been, man, it's always so much joy and love and camaraderie with you. You've just been one of my dearest friends my whole life
Likewise,
now,
Sammy.
man. Like half my life, dude.
Sammy, I'm so honored to be here, and I just wanna say that what you're doing here with Repertoire. First off, I'm honored to be one of the first guests on the show. But speaking from, you know, tagging along with you here in Boston this weekend, what you're onto is really special. And I just wanted to take a moment to say that, like, very early on in this show, because this is about to be very, very big, that your impact and what you're doing for people who are coming to your show and being featured is really special. And I just want to make sure that I take the time to say thank you. And I want to say thank you on behalf of all future guests as well, because we have, as an industry, lost quality platforms that you have now created as an outlet where I can come here as a chef and as a friend and feel comfortable and sit in a living room with you and talk, just as we've spoken on the phone so many days to each other for hours and hours. And I really commend you for doing this, because somebody had to do it, and I'm so proud. I'm so proud that it's you, man.
Man, thank you so much, dude. Like
So proud.
I'm having an outer body moment, like really. It's beyond a goosebumps. That means the world to me. This is definitely something that I've been thinking about and working on for 5 years. And I said, you know what, I have to do it. Like I said, I have to do this
Yeah.
year. I
And-
have to make this happen. And it's so fun.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me that you're like, thanks for having me. It's like, dude, I'm in your home.
No, but
bro.
but I
Like, I'm
want
in your home.
I want listeners to understand one thing. There has been no one that I've known who has deserved to have his own show more than Sammy Mansour. And I will tell you that Repertoire was born because Sammy couldn't get his own show through other networks. And I can't wait for the day that Spotify or whoever else takes us on, somebody wants to buy the show, whatever it is, you know, because you have produced something that's so thoughtful, so beautifully shot, so well presented. And I told you before we did the show, I was like, the best hosts that I've ever worked with have pulled things out of me that I just couldn't remember. And the right questions will spark that, and that's what'll make you a great host. And I think what you've done here, and these are the early innings, but again, I'm grateful, I'm proud, and Repertoire is going to be exceptionally well known. So cheers to you and all your hard work.
Man, thank you so much.
Of course.
You know, and thanks to all of y'all for tuning in. If you didn't know, Repertoire is part of Heritage Radio Network, where we're on a mission to build a more equitable, sustainable food future. And your engagement is what keeps the lights on. So if you dug today's episode, please hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. The Good Food Movement is all about community, and together we can make a meaningful impact.